As we saw in the piece, some long for the technology of the past, but others are looking for what's trending. Joining us now from California is Rob Enderle. He's president and principal analyst of the Enderle Group, which monitors the latest in the technology field. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
You know, what are some of the latest trends in mobile phone technology? Are companies setting the trends, or are they listening to what the consumer wants?
Well, to a certain extent, what we have with most new technology areas is the engineers kind of drive the trend and the consumers figure out what they want later. So we've got a series of things that are happening at the moment. We've got advanced augmented reality devices coming forward, which allows you to blend what's real with what's virtual. For instance, this Monday, Microsoft and DreamWorks announced Dragon Adventure, which allows a child to, while they're on a family vacation, blend their training of their dragon with the location that they're in and the adventure. And so Starbucks looks like, from the air, an orc castle. Unfortunately, they can't blow it up at the moment, and that becomes a problem. But we've got other stuff like that as well.
But is that going to be on a new smartphone? What features do you think will take off in the coming weeks, months here?
Well, we've got 3D now hit. We had Amazon launch the Fire Phone, and it's got 3D capability, and that's actually kind of interesting. It allows you to see things in much more realistic kind of frame of reference, so objects bounce out for you, and if you're shopping, you can see a couch. You will eventually be able to place that couch in a living room or a location, and that requires a display that will display that couch in all directions. And then, of course, you also have the capability for the cameras to capture 3D, which is also important. You've got a Google initiative to do that, and that will allow you to scan your home, scan an item that you might want to put up on eBay, and have it appear much more realistic, or share your car or even your girlfriend or boyfriend in all their 3D glory.
Rob, what would you say is popular among consumers in the United States versus consumers in China and then other countries around the world?
Well, right now we've got a trend that seems to be starting mostly in Asia, but moving to the United States with regard to phablets. Those are phones that have screens that are 5 inches or larger in size, approaching 6 inches, much more popular overseas than here at the moment, but is expanding. In fact, we're expecting Apple to eventually announce a larger phone that we've heard recently that had to delay theirs because of part shortages. That's one of them. Technology in the U.S. that hasn't quite moved overseas yet is biometrics. The ability to use a fingerprint sensor to get past the security in your phone and get into it. We've had a number of security problems here in the U.S., largely connected to our national security organization, and that's, we expect to spread overseas as an example of something that started here and is moving there.
Rob, how do you see people using their smartphones 10 years from now? I mean, as it is, most people don't use their phones as phones. It's everything else. It's for email, it's for games, it's a GPS. So looking ahead 10 years down the road, what will phones look like?
Well, they're probably going to be increasingly attached to your body or embedded. 10 years is a little soon for full embedded technology, but our expectation is eventually the phone will be built into you and you'll communicate with somebody remotely, much as if they were here. But in 10 years, we're probably talking about much more of a wearable device, the evolution of the smartwatch and Google Glass into something that is much more connected to you physically and much less that you'll have to pull out of your pocket and look at. We want our hands free, and unfortunately the law says if we want to drive, those hands have to be free, which I think will drive that trend initially.
I mean, and people already take their phones to bed, so the next step sounds pretty scary. Rob Enderle, thank you so much for joining us from California.
Pleasure.